What is up, bros and broettes? I'm Inkslasher, and today we are talking about DLC 1 for Call of Duty World War II. Yes, already we have information about the first DLC. It is called The Resistance, and it is coming out on PS4 on January 30th. So, by the end of January, we will have DLC 1, and then about a month later, it will be coming out on Xbox. And out of this, we're getting 3 multiplayer maps, 1 war map, and 1 new zombies map. Today, we're going to talk about all of the different maps, look at the different intricate details about them, and then at the end of the video I'm going to kind of give you my opinion on what I think of this DLC pack as a whole, because there really are some mixed opinions about it. Now, the first map we're looking at today is called Valkyrie. You may have also heard this one called the Wolf's Lair. The reason being is this was actually designed after Hitler's Eastern Front headquarters in East Prussia. So this is an interesting design for a map. They described it as a medium-sized map focused on dangerous gameplay focused in the center of the map. So basically, there's going to be one center lane surrounded by buildings overlooking it, with of course ways to get around through the outside of the map. The second map we got here is called Anthropoid, and it is actually based off of a mission that took place during World War II in Czechoslovakia in Prague called Operation Anthropoid. And basically this mission was to assassinate a bunch of high-ranking German officers. Now this map, the way they describe it is a little bit confusing, but there's going to be a lot of levels to it. It's going to be an urban map with plenty of staircases and ways to get above and around people with plenty of flank routes. It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays, as of right now in Call of Duty World War II, we don't have really any urban maps whatsoever. The only one that we really do is Aachen, and that one's more of like a destroyed city, not so much an actual living urban environment like this one looks like. And the third multiplayer map we have is called Occupation, and this one is a remake of the map Resistance from Modern Warfare 3. This is definitely a fan favorite map, people really love it, but the problem with this is it was just remade in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, and it's a little bit odd to see this be remade in back-to-back games. Now that being said, I think this map does really play well with a boots on the ground kind of style, and it looks really good from what we've seen of it so far. It's just very odd for them to be remade like that in back-to-back games, and I'm really curious to hear what you guys have to say about that down in the comments. The next map that we have here is the war map they are adding into the game. This one is called Operation Intercept, and this one takes place in France, and there's actually a couple of new aspects to this map. The first of which is the very first thing you do on the war map, which is try to free some of the French resistance. In other words, you are actually going to be trying to save some hostages. After that, at the end of the map, you go ahead and try to stop an entire train, which I have no idea how that is actually going to work, but I'm really interested to see how they implement those mechanics into a Call of Duty game. I do play the war game modes as of right now in the game a lot, and I'm really interested to see what they can do with some future maps in the war game mode. And the final new thing with this DLC is the new zombies map called the Darkest Shore. Now the reason why it's called the Darkest Shore is because it takes place on an island off the north end of Germany. This map is going to be covered in fog. It's going to be even more spooky apparently than the first one, which is really great, and you are going to be following the same characters you did in the original zombies maps at the release of World War II. I'm not a huge zombies player, but it's definitely going to be worth getting my hands on it, trying it, and playing through it a few times. But all in all, it does look very good. It looks very dark, spooky, and it looks like they did a very good job with it. So what are my thoughts on this DLC pack? It's an interesting one because this is the first time since Modern Warfare 2 that a DLC is going to be released with less than 4 multiplayer maps. Now that being said, they do also have the new war map, which is kind of a multiplayer map in its own. However, I think this is really causing a problem for World War II. And here's why I say this. At release, there is 9 maps for Call of Duty World War II. And when I talk to people, when I talk to my friends, when I talk to people who are just casual players, they're saying that they're getting sick of not having enough maps. And in releasing a DLC, you would think that they would try to add as many maps as possible to freshen up the game. And with only releasing 3, that isn't as many as we're normally used to in DLC itself. It's still less than some Call of Duty games are even released with. It's going to be up to 12 multiplayer maps now that will be in the game, and that's less than some Call of Duty games are even launched with. Now I know that there's also these war maps, but you have to remember a lot of casual Call of Duty players don't play war. They simply play Team Deathmatch and Team Deathmatch alone. That means they are only playing the 9 current maps in the game, soon to be 12 maps with the DLC 1. Not to mention that one of the new maps that they are adding into the multiplayer isn't even a new map. It's a remake of a map from Modern Warfare 3. Now, I know a lot of people do really like the remake maps, but it's a lot less work for the developers than if they were just to make a whole brand new map for the game. So, what do I think? I think they still should have done 4 multiplayer maps, one of which could be a remake map, plus a war map, plus zombies. I know it's a ton of work for the developer, a ton to ask, but there's already a lack of maps in the game, and that would really make up for it. Will they do that with the future DLC? I really have no idea. I highly doubt it, but it is possible that they do that in the future. But on the other hand, how do I think the maps actually look, how I think they're going to play? I think they look really good. I think they're doing a good job of designing a whole bunch of different types of maps. We have a ton of snowy ones that are currently in the game. Now they're making some more urban ones and some foresty ones, so it's good to see a little bit of change there. On top of that, I really do enjoy the new war mode, and I'm excited to get a new map for that. Instead of having to stick with the 3 current ones that are in there, I'm excited to get that 4th one in the rotation and try that out and see what they do with those new mechanics as well. But I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. Do you think there should have been 4 multiplayer maps? Do you think it's kind of a scapegoat to add in that remake map for Modern Warfare 3? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed the video, it'd be very greatly appreciated if you could hit that like button. But guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, peace out.